Hi everyone, it's me Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to my channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a Tunisian tutorial, and it's going to be a little bit of a combination of a couple of things. I'm going to show you how to use a regular crochet hook for this particular project and show you how to do a stitch and also how to turn it into a project. So you're going to need some yarn. And for the project itself, I'm using Premier Serenity Chunky. And they come in a bulky 5 with 328 yards. It is also 100% acrylic. For the beginning of the tutorial, I'm going to show you with a worsted weight, just a Red Heart Cafe Latte worsted weight. We're going to do a Tunisian cluster stitch, and it's done in multiples of 2 plus 1. Now for the project, you will need to chain a total of 17. I'm going to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now this is just for the tutorial on how to do the stitch. Then I'll tell you more about the project itself. Once you've chained 7, you're going to go back through your stitches and pick up loops. So you're going to want to pick up 6 loops because in Tunisian, your first loop is the loop on your hook. So you're going to go to the second stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Go to the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. And you're going to continue doing that all the way to the end. And when you come to the end, you should have a total of 7 loops if you're just doing this little swatch. So we have 3, 6, and 7. Now we're just going to do a forward and reverse pass for the first 2 rows to give us a foundation. So for your reverse pass, you're going to yarn over and chain 1. Then you're going to yarn over and go through 2. And continue with yarn over, go through 2 until you have 1 loop left on your hook. Okay, so now we have our foundation start here. Now we're going to move into how to do the cluster. You're going to yarn over. That yarn over counts as a stitch. So you're going to skip your next vertical stitch and go into the following, and you're going to go all the way through that vertical stitch and come out the back side of the stitch, yarn over and pull a loop up, then yarn over and go through 2 loops on your hook. And we're going to do this 2 more times. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops on your hook. 1 more, yarn over, insert your hook all into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops only. You now have 4 loops on your hook, this very first one and then the 3 we just made. We're going to cluster those together by yarning over and going through all 3 of those loops. Now we're back down to 2 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over, so skip your next stitch and go into the following stitch all the way through from front to back. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and do that 2 more times in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through 2 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through 2 loops. Now you're going to yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops you just made, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook. You now have 2 loops left, or 2 stitches left. We're going to yarn over and skip that next one, and we're going to come down here to the last one and make sure and collect both of those legs from that end stitch. Can be a little tedious at times, but there we are, we have it. And yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops. So now we have our beginning stitch, 2 clusters, and our ending stitch down here. Now we're going to do our reverse pass, yarn over and chain 1. And now we need to make up our skipped chain by chaining 1 more. Now you're going to yarn over and go through 2 loops. Chain 1, yarn over, and go through 2 loops. Chain 1, yarn over, and go through 2 loops. That is how it is worked. Now we're going to do our forward pass to complete this. We have 1 more forward pass and 1 more reverse pass. So into the chain 1, we're going to pick up a loop. So insert your hook into that chain 1, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Now you're going to Tunisian simple stitch your next vertical. Then you're going to make 1 by going into the chain, yarn over, and pulling up a loop. Tunisian simple stitch into the next. And 1 more time, we're going to make 1 by going into that chain, yarning over and pulling up a loop. And now we have our very last stitch. We need to go into and pick up both of those legs from the very last stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now we're going to chain 1 and yarn over, go through 2, 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 and yarn over, go through the last 2. That is the complete forward and reverse. Now I'm going to chain 1 to bring it up. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to repeat our clusters. We're going to skip the next stitch. We're going to go into the following stitch from front all the way to back, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2. Do that 2 more times in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. 1 more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. Yarn over and go through 3 loops. Yarn over, skip your next stitch, insert your hook from front all the way through to the back, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops. Do that 2 more times into the same stitch. Then yarn over and go through 3 loops. Got our last 2 stitches. We're going to yarn over, skip the next stitch, and go into the last stitch, picking up both legs of that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2. Now you're going to chain 1 and chain 1 for your skipped stitch. Now you're going to yarn over and go through 2. Chain 1, yarn over and go through 2. Chain 1, yarn over and go through 2. We're going to do our last 2 rows repeats. We're going to make 1 by going into the chain 1, yarning over, pulling up a loop. Simple stitch the next. Insert your hook into the chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, simple stitch the next, and go into the chain 1 space and pull up a loop, and then go into your very last stitch, picking up both legs of that stitch, yarning over, pulling up a loop. Now you're going to chain 1 and yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and continue till you have 1 loop left on your hook. Now, might I mention, I am using a K hook. If you have a K Tunisian hook, you're more than welcome to use that. I'm just showing you how I used a standard size K hook for making this project. That is your repeats for the Tunisian cluster stitch. I'm going to set that aside and move over to our project. For this project, I chained a total of 17 stitches, which gave me an end stitch on each end and 7 cluster groups. I continued working those repeats that I just showed you until I have reached row 20 of clusters. Counting just the cluster rows, I have reached 20 rows of clusters. So now what I'm going to do is bring over my end that I started on and cross over to make a cowl. So I've got them crisscrossed. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can slip stitch all the way down and then all the way across this end. That is entirely up to you if you so choose to do that. You are also welcome to whip stitch it all the way around. That is completely up to you how you choose to bind off and close up this cowl. I will be slip stitching by going in to a stitch straight across after lining up my corners here. Like I said, I'm at an angle and I'm crisscrossed over the top. So I have 1 corner up here and 1 corner down here. And the same thing over here, 1 corner down here and 1 corner up there. So I'm going to go into this stitch pretty much straight across from where I'm at once I'm all settled with and comfortable with the alignment of the 2 ends. And I'm going to pull this stitch all the way through and just slip through. Now I'm going to go into my next stitch and go straight to the second piece. Yarn over, pull a loop through, and slip stitch. And I'm just going to continue working through each stitch, going all the way through and into the next stitch back here, yarning over, pulling a loop through, and then slip stitch. And I'm just going to continue working all the way down. Doing 1 stitch at a time. And now you could make this into a scarf just by continuing the pattern over and over again. Just continue those repeats until you have it 60 to 70 inches long. You could make this a very wide scarf if you so choose by making the initial chain much wider. And doing more repeats of this same pattern. You could make it much wider and make it a super scarf if you wish. You could do less rows and make it a round cowl and sew the two ends together evenly. There are many, many different things you could do, but this is just creating a cowl that comes down to a point in the front and sits nicely underneath a jacket, where the jacket covers like this, and that lays nice and comfortably around your neck. Again, this can be done so many different ways. It is completely and entirely up to you how you want to run with this stitch and what you want to do with it. I just wanted to give you some basic idea on how to do a swatch and learn the Tunisian cluster using an aluminum K hook, and also to be able to work up a pattern. If you go much more than the 17 stitches, you will probably need to have an Afghan hook or a cabled Tunisian hook. I wouldn't put any more than 17 stitches on just a standard hook. But it can be done, and you can do a really, really quick, fun project by just grabbing yourself a hook, learning this stitch, and working up a, it's actually rather quick with the bulky number 5 and these clusters because they're so tall. It works pretty quick. I hope that you've enjoyed this kind of roundabout tutorial on how to do a swatch to learn this particular cluster stitch. Also, how to work up a quick project without a Tunisian hook. You can also do something very Tunisian. I just hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and here's a bulky 5 project for you. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.